Good Saturday morning to you, Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights. This VELCO Weather Hazards Outlook weather video is brought to us by 802cars.com. They represent 802 Toyota Twin City Subaru, 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. One little weather system worked on to the north of us. It did produce a little bit of radar-indicated snow here, but this largely stays north of the Canadian border and into portions of northern Maine. Main weather system that is pushing off to the east in the country right now is in the southeast United States. It's taking an easterly track. And the west coast has a very strong trough of lower pressure. That's where the main action is going to be, and that's going to be developing over the Rockies and the interior western areas over the course of the next few days. In the meantime, we're going to see warmer weather that is located in the center of the nation. You can see it by some of the temperatures here. At this point in time, this is going to be working in and warming us up, and we're going to see probably the warmest day on Monday, and then a little bit of a temperature crash as some of this colder air in parts of Canada makes it into the region for the rest of the week. However, very little impacts expected. We have several days of dry weather ahead, and you note that these little clipper systems coming over the top of a weak flat ridge kind of tracking north of the U.S.-Canadian border and remaining in Canada, except for parts of northern Maine. This current system's going to be working on out, but this other one kind of drops in to take its place. However, we're going to be controlled by these areas of higher pressure, and so there's not a whole lot to worry about here. I'll take you through the entire scenario. You can see the storm system in the southeast United States beginning to pull across Florida and then off the into the Atlantic. However, to the north, not a whole lot going on. These little wisps of minor snow or minor snow showers and a couple of these weak Alberta clipper systems, they even weaken further. There's one little system here. This is working in for Wednesday night, Christmas Day night, if you will. And the latest computer modeling has wiped it out already, so don't get too concentrated on that. Up in the northern tier, it could provide us with a little touch of wet snow. Very, very spurious, though, on the models. Well, we kind of continue with a sort of a lack of major weather systems moving across the region. However, things do get very busy once we get into really Friday and then beyond over the weekend. So this brings us a little bit of wet snow. You can see a little bit of moderate potential snowfall there in the northern tier regions of Vermont. This would happen, it looks like, on Friday into Friday night and Saturday. That pushes on out after a ridge of higher pressure builds in. And then looking further beyond this period, we got another weather system working in. This could also include a little bit of mixed precipitation. Looks like potentially a little bit of minor wet snow. Again, not looking at tremendous amounts of snowfall here. And we'll take it as far as we can go here, going into the early to mid part of next week. Another area of higher pressure builds in, and that's followed by yet another weather system that's going to be pushing in. This one may deliver a little bit of rain and mixed precipitation for us. That's we're talking Tuesday evening, Tuesday night. So the period in question is through the 27th. It's 12Z and the 0Z. This would be into this coming weekend. We start to see a little bit of precipitation indicated by the GFS ensemble model. And looking at the total amounts of QPF, it's really not a big deal here. We're talking basically 2/10 or so. And so we're not looking at anything major in terms of storminess with this particular stretch. Just as the European model shows potential for mixed precipitation after the 27th, you can see that the GFS ensemble is also indicating that with this green line here. And of course we have different precipitation types. So looking at the 850 hectopascal temperature, you can see that some of those modeling indicates that it's going to be above the freezing mark at 850, and that's an indicator of liquid precip. However, for most of this period, no worries there, and the only thing when it goes above freezing, temperatures will be in the 40s, we have no precipitation to worry about. And that'll happen on Monday. Precipitable water is very low. How low do you go? And then let's take a look at temperatures quickly. You can see that a little bit of a dip in temperature for the post period after the Christmas holiday into the weekend, and then a little bit of a rise. And that's pretty much right on what the European indicates as well. So now that the coldest air is worked off into the Atlantic, we have it's been replaced by much warmer than normal conditions. Temperatures in Alaska have dropped, and that's an indicator of warmer temperatures crossing in through from the Pacific and all the way penetrating all the way to the eastern seaboard. The Arctic is still rather warm. We get occasionally now a little bit of eastern Siberian colder air masses working into Alaska, and then these drop into the United States. Weather Prediction Center 7-day total QPF. The quantitative precipitation forecast shows California getting the most, and interestingly, areas around Santa Barbara, Point Conception, Southern California, seeing some pretty healthy amounts of rainfall. Also up in the British Columbia and Northern Pacific Northwest. Rockies interior sections not really active yet. That's going to be working in, and that will be developing. Then we have the southeast precipitation with that closed cutoff low that's going to track just about due east. That leaves us with us. Not a whole lot going on here in terms of precipitation. So with Climate Reanalyzer, we just saw how warm it is spreading across the country. You can see that it's making some inroads here for the next 5 days of high temperatures that are going to start going below normal across the west coast and into the interior west. However, you can see just how warm it is. 24 degrees above normal for this time of year in terms of average high temperatures. And we in Vermont, about 6 to 9 degrees above normal. About 3 days later, it looks like this. Still about 6 degrees above normal, weighted. How do we compare currently with our snow cover? This is a snow cover extent in kilometers. So by tens of kilometers, you can see where we are in total for the northern hemisphere. And it's kind of low. It's really Eurasia that's bringing us down, as North America is not doing quite that bad. So taking a look at North America, you can see that we're closer to the middle of the pack, you might say, or above average. Occasionally we hit significant, and then we kind of slope down, a little bit of a rise and slope down. This has been the case. But what is bringing us down here is in the other continents of Eurasia. You can see that they're near record low here. Not quite. It looks like 2008, 2009 was a little bit less in terms of snow extent across Eurasia, that broad continent. So you kind of get the picture here. Here's our snowfalls compared to average so far. Things kind of got going in, looks like October, and you can see some ups and downs. We lost some snow and so forth. And this is where we are currently running below normal for this time of year. And just comparing notes here, 2018, 2019, you can see that was our one of the top 5, I think a top 2 snowfall, heavy snowfalls in terms of snow depth at the stake is what this is atop Mount Mansfield. 2017, 2018, you can see where that is. Wide swings. We started out basically the first half of the winter as pretty minimal in terms of snow depths and not as many snowstorms, but then things picked up, and it was very much a backloaded type winter. 2016, 2017, you can see this is in the oranger colors. A lot of variability once again. You might notice that things kind of fall off once we get into February, kind of dries things out, and then it picks up a little bit into March. And then where we are right now, who knows how this is going to shake out, because it's very, very unpredictable this year in terms of our winter forecast. Eventually, I do think we'll see some pretty heavy snows and some strings of nor'easters, but we're also going to have these down periods, much like we're seeing right now, just ahead of the Christmas holiday. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.